So thank you, President Burkhart. Good afternoon, beloved faculty, administrative staff, board, facilities management, technical support team, custodial staff, counselors, famous Naropa chai makers. It takes a sangha to make an institution run and some passion to make it sing. So thank you. And thank you for extending an invitation to me. It's truly an honor as an alum of the Naropa Contemporary Contemplative Theater Master's Program to give the commencement address. The one I actually will not give. I'm not a big fan of commencement, the noun. Maybe I should have mentioned that, but nouns are totally overrated, are they not? Verbs are where the action is at. So I'm here to give the commencing speech, the life-giving present moment verb of a speech. And for those of you who are hoping for the traditional noun, I would offer that it would be un-Naropa of me to deliver such stagnancy. Commencement, the noun, historically signified the transition of a student into their professional role as a teacher. But at Naropa, we take the beginner's mind of mindfulness to heart and believe that all good teachers are perpetual students, and all of you who have been engaged students have also been teaching, not only yourself, but your peers and faculty as you dove into your education and what it is you came to learn. So a very merry uncommencement to you. Seriously, I'm here to honor an accumulation of actions that each of you took to begin your studies over and over and over again over the last few years to receive today's credentials in your chosen fields. Credentials and titles that will now and forever be added to your name, tagged to your bio, your resume, your dossier, locked into your LinkedIn page, because at its most powerful ritual base, I do believe today's ceremony is about you commencing closer to your true name. And I'm sorry, parents, I know you probably all gave them lovely names. Thank you, I appreciate that. But this new extended moniker, whether it's Bachelor of Arts, or Masters of Divinity, or Masters of Fine Arts, or Masters of Arts, Somatic, Psychology, Transcendent, Yoga, Environmental, Dance, all of y'all, milestones towards your unique missions in your life. And that you chose as part of your new name, Naropa University. A university that proclaims we need leaders and scholars who understand there is no true education without contemplation, that intellectual learning wanders haphazardly without intuitive understanding, that Nobel Prize winning creativity is corrupted without compassion, and that if you lose yourself on the way to economic gain, you have lost your true home economics, yourself, your source, your soul, some of you might say. So I'm here to do my best to honor the commencing it took to achieve these new names and graduate from Naropa within your respective fields and focuses. Well done, yo. And it's particularly meaningful to me as the founder and artistic director of Motus Theater, someone who has been working with people who are formerly incarcerated, immigrants, transgender folks, to create original theater to support a multicultural democracy that celebrates all our children, to be talking about the power of commencing at this time in our raveling and unraveling nation, of reminding each other and ourselves that we do know how to commence. to begin again and again and again, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the resources or lack thereof, because we know who we are at the source, at the root, and reminding ourselves that our ancestors are rooting for us at this root. And some of our genetic ancestors and many of our greatest spiritual ancestors built what we know of democracy in this country, taking courageous actions again and again and again, despite blood, batons, attack dogs, lynchings, reservation, internment, criminalization, hunger, and union busting. Okay. So let's start with some celebratory gratitudes. Some of you are the first to graduate from college in your families. Can we have a woo? Woo! And some of you are the first in your family not to choose one of the Ivy Leagues. Woo! Knowing, as many of us do who have tickled the ivy of the Ivy League, that it is sometimes the farthest place from the Justice League. And if you can truly be present in the present moment and take compassionate action to create the next abundant moment, then you are in a wisdom league. And if you didn't lose yourself on the way to your degree, you are truly, truly in a league of your own. Well done. Well done. So let's amp up the celebratory gratitudes for the Stardust stars of the show. The only thing better than a verb is an exclamation. A sound out of the body, sometimes even an expletive. Anything from an O to a O that speaks a whole vibrating, wordless truth. So in a moment, I will ask you to give an even bigger whoop than you've already been giving, where you somatically celebrate yourself, and special guest attending, you too get to make a big loud sound and a few fist bumps as well, so that together we can release, as you know, somatic leaders, some tension, some stress, and arrive fully in the joy of celebrating the achievements of those graduating. And you out there who are on an online screen somewhere, you know who you are, wherever you are. I hope you will also make some really big sounds and enjoy surprising your neighbors with a shock of exuberant joy. What the? So, a big woo on the count of 3, one that will vibrate the Buddha statues all the way over in Nalanda. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo! Woo! Awesome. Woo! Awesome songs, true songs, because again, you did it. You didn't give up, you didn't give in. You turned in what needed to be turned in, timely or untimely. And somehow you kept psychologically turned on what needed to be turned on to keep your passion for your academic projects in momentum, despite requirements that you did or did not enjoy. Despite the challenges of finances and figuring out affordable housing in Boulder, or connecting across distance learning, yes, you guys, damn well done you, undergraduates, master's graduates, you made it, you commenced again and again, and that's why we're here. You didn't give up and you didn't give in. I know it, it's serious right now, y'all, about that. And we get to continue the abundance of gratitudes because most of you did not give up on each other either. Take a look around at some of your fellow students who encouraged you or inspired you or pissed you off enough to keep you going. And some of them managed that on a little online screen, but are here with you in the auditorium today so you can connect with these beloveds and pain in the asses in person. So enjoy the view, look around. These are some of your people, as Mr. Rogers would say, in your neighborhood. Yeah. Interbeing is actuality. We never truly do hard things alone. There's this beautiful research on this theme about why geese travel in a V formation and how they cover so much distance, 70% farther as a flock than a single bird alone could handle. They discovered that the geese at the front of the V exert their strength to push their wings through the air, and that together these geese, with their efforts and synchronicity, are creating airwaves like you see in the wake of a boat. And the geese near the end of the V, who might be tired, can ride on those airwaves, catch a breath, catch a break, and when they are stronger, they can move towards the front of the V, and those at the front can slip back and catch the breath, catch a wave. And like that, everyone can make it. So thank you, graduates, for helping each other, for being the wings in each other's flight, so that so many of you could make the distance all the way from orientation to landing together at graduation. Although, unlike geese, when landing on the ground of graduation, please refrain from pooping. I have nothing against poop. It's life-giving fertilizer, but it's icky on the shoes and stinky. Don't do it. Even though if you had robes on, you could drop some and no one would know. The last time I was at a Naropa commencement, I was getting it and I had a red clown nose on, so I don't know what you guys were thinking inviting me, man. And speaking of poop, some of you have special guests in the audience who have put up with your poop, your caca castles for many years, and reminded you, even when you were stressed and difficult and grumpy, of your brilliance, and loved you forward to keep commencing. Your friends, families, your intimate relationships, at least the partners and spouses that survived the stress of school. Well done all. Your parents, the papas, the mamas. Yes, tomorrow is Mother's Day, and I will celebrate a Hallmark holiday if it's about mothers. So awesome. But also, we have the aunties, the tios, the godmothers, the godfathers, the grandparents, the sibs. Thank you for all the ways you have sent love, cash, or cheers. Woo! So they all could fly forward towards their goals because we need them. We really need them right now, right? We need y'all. We need the strong, synchronized beating of your wings, your courage, curiosity, creativity, your compassion, your mindful leadership, and your crazy ideas, like going to Naropa and thinking that investing in mindfulness and ethically engaged, equitable practices interwoven with earth-based relational and somatic health is the kind of life-giving economics that we need in this country today. Excuse me while I pause to talk to some federal officials evaluating student loan criteria. Life-giving economics! Because to paraphrase Dr. Jun-Lei Lee, senior lecturer at Harvard Graduate School of Education, what counts or what matters in this world cannot always be numerically or financially counted. And let's be honest, what can be counted does not always actually count if you know your true name. But now, it's time for my script to take a dramatic, and I'm sorry, somewhat tragic turn. a tragedy of hospitality within the themes of gratitude, the size of this auditorium. Because this 2,000-seat auditorium is a travesty. It really is. It barely fits the living, breathing guests, when the truth is we need thousands of empty seats because each person graduating has an Elijah of some kind with them, an honored ancestral or living guest who is with us in spirit and who has been supporting you at the bone and at the heart. Because there's so many people that are part of each of your flights to the finish. Maybe it's a member of your blood family who passed, a grandma or a grandpa, maybe a teacher, a neighbor, a coach, a counselor, your fellow soldier, somebody who reminded you of your value, your worth, and who saw you when you most needed to be seen, or you would not be here today, loves. You would not. We are all communal projects of personal relational love as well as community public policy love. There are so many people living in you and through you, so well done all, well done all. So for a moment, everyone, please close your eyes. Yes, those graduating or here for celebration, everyone, because all of you are haunted in the best way. In the best way, by people rooting for you. So close your eyes and think of one of those people that helped you become you at your best, who believed in you, who reminded you of who you are, who knew a brilliance, a beauty, a seed of an oak tree when they saw it. And now that you have them held in your mind's eyes, send your gratitude to them through the airwaves, like a radio frequency prayer of love, and thank them in your mind's eye for supporting you in commencing towards your goals and your true name. Thank you. And now for the big moment. No, not handing over diplomas in your new name, not your big moment. My big moment. My moment. When I deliver the hopeful words of hope that colleges are hoping every commencement speaker offers, because it's rumored that there's something about the rise in authoritarianism, civil rights decreasing, wars continuing, deportation rampanting, genocide happening and funded by our tax dollars, people targeted for protesting or being their true gender, U.S. environmental protections erased, the increasing wealth of the 1% rocketing to the moon while SNAP programs snap, healthcare crashes, that, well, rumor has it some people could use some hope. But I'm sorry, wrong check. My apologies, but I'm not that interested in nouns, even hope, which is an abstract existential noun representing a feeling of desire, expectation, or trust that something good will happen. And I try not to spend any energy on either anxiety or hopes for the future, hoping things will be different, hoping things will get better, hoping for less white supremacy in the Supreme Court, hoping that some Rockefeller or Ford will fund Motus or Naropa or take away your student debts. No, don't get me wrong. I am fully open to the good and receiving all abundance. Let justice and funding roll down like water. But I try not to spend my energy hoping for some benevolent funder, benevolent God, or charismatic political leader to kiss us and make it all better. But I do believe with my all and you all and all of us, and that when we commence, and particularly when we synchronize our efforts and commence together, we will take flight. Yes. I believe and hope, the verb, which is ironically also hope, the acronym. And I know acronyms are a form of speech that usually make nouns look good, but this is an exception, y'all. I'm sorry. First, let's start with one of my least favorite acronyms, ACE. Many of you studying healing modalities know too much about ACE scores. ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. If a child has 4 of the 10 criteria of trauma scored by ACE before the age of 6, then they are said to have little chance of graduating from high school, let alone college like you all, and are statistically likely to go to prison and have an adult chronic health issues, too depressing and too often too predictive. But there were some crazy wisdom seekers, perhaps like you, but at Tufts Medical Center, that thought ACE scores can't be the whole story. And what they figured out was that it's not so much the presence of adverse childhood experiences that are determining, but the absence of key positive experiences. They developed a new strength-based framework with the acronym, drumroll please, HOPE, healthy outcomes from positive experiences. Yes. It identifies 4 building blocks: relationships, environment, engagement, and emotional growth that foster resilience. With this understanding of HOPE, the acronym, healthy outcomes from positive experiences, we are all suddenly empowered to be each other's positive experiences, to be the hope. We are no longer lamenting high ACE scores, but taking actions to bring healthy outcomes to those we can impact. Just like the people you thanked in our shared silence, who personally impacted you and helped you in flight. We can be that for each other in our communities. And this hope is not just about personal love and all the people. It is also about the people who fought for civil rights and human rights, indigenous rights, LGBTQ plus rights, gender rights, workers' rights, education, equity, because they're also part of all of your flights. They're part of it. There's so many blood and spiritual ancestors in this room who impacted your ability to commence. These people became the hope by taking powerful actions that created more humane policies that help everyone have an opportunity to soar. To quote Cornel West, who I don't always agree with, but I won't give up on, justice is what love looks like in public. Justice is what love looks like in public. The people who created the momentum for the 1965 Civil Rights Act were Black Americans and their allies who took courageous action, uplifting public love, supporting the health of not only Black Americans, but the health of our entire democracy. They were beaten, baton, bitten by dogs and bullied, but still they beat their wings, and through their courageous actions and public love, our whole country could take flight and finally land as a democracy. Their public love and leadership is part of all our hope. Of course, y'all know, the Civil Rights Act has been profoundly damaged by the recent Supreme Court decision dismantling the Voting Rights Act. But the beauty, the power, the dignity, the abundance of people who knew their true name, of civil rights leaders, cannot be undone. We have seen these ancestors make extraordinary impacts on our country and thus on us. We have seen Minnesotans have impact. We know it can be done when we synchronize and organize. We can all take flight and go so much farther. But a flock can only fly 70% farther than an individual bird because no one bird or group of birds is always having to push while the others catch a wave. And too often in our country, the people flying at the front of the V for victory that have taken us the farthest towards democracy and justice have been Black Americans, people of color, and those on the front lines of state-sanctioned violence. While people more secure in their privilege, and those like myself, racialized white, often benefit from the courageous efforts of others and catch the wave. But it is exhausting always to be at the front, pushing against the headwinds of injustice. As one Motus Theater's documented monologuist says, "I am tired of begging you to act like a citizen in a democracy. I need rest too." So, if the V formation is going to fly us all to victory, beloved white people and people of privilege, we need to take our turn on the front lines using all our wings too to help push our country towards liberty and justice for all. Because if we commence together, all together, working together, protesting together, loving together, like the geese, we can cover unimaginable ground. We can move this country beyond the Civil Rights Act towards even more equity, more justice, more public love of human, animal, and plant. So, final words for the beloveds, the beautiful beloveds commencing. Please, please dance, sing, pray, do what you need to do to keep on commencing, keep on flying, keep on celebrating each other and all the people who have ever loved you personally or publicly or democratically. Each of us can be that hope. Do the hope. And now, with your new exciting credentials, these feathers in your cap, you can catch even more wind. And as the late, great, beloved poet Mary Oliver might say when looking at such a good-looking flock of Naropa geese, what will you do with your one wild and precious life? Verb on, my loves, verb on.